Oh, what's up, everybody? Donnie at PG Hat Company. I've got a hoodie on, which means one thing. It's 60 degrees here in Florida, and it is freezing cold, dead of winter type situation. But seriously, though, it's November. Holy crap, it's the holiday season. The time has changed. Hope everybody changed their watches and clocks. I hate this time of year. I absolutely hate it. But it's the holiday season. So before I start this video, be patient with your small businesses, be kind, give them grace. You know, we are people, we're humans, we're doing this and providing a service. And yeah, just be nice to us, be nice to others. That's simple. Holiday season, tempers flare. Everybody gets out of control, which is understandable, but just be nice. So today I'm going to do something a lot different than normal. Usually I do little sewing videos and hat information, stuff like that. But it's been on my mind. I jotted down some notes back in our warehouse a couple of weeks ago. I keep hanging on to them, and I've tried to sit down and do this video. And it's Monday, so technically our retail store is closed on Monday, so I've got the door locked and thought it would be a good opportunity to sit down with you guys and give you a little business 101 my style. My style is probably going to be vastly different than other people's. This is stuff that I've just learned on my own. I didn't read books on how to do this. I don't follow other business influencers that I get ideas from on how to run our business. So I'm sure I'm doing something wrong in somebody's eyes, but in our eyes, I feel like we're pretty successful from the days in our spare bedroom to our retail store now, our warehouse in the back. We have surpassed $1 million in sales. We've been doing this since 2008 and really doing it heavy since 2020 is really when the hats just kind of exploded on us. But yeah, so the reason I'm doing this, we get questions in our inbox all the time on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. If anybody's followed our journey for, any period of time, that's the reason that we get so many questions. I worked at a engineering firm for 18 years from 2000 until 2018. 2018, I went all in on everything. We had already been building this kind of on the back burner, if you want to say that. My wife, she worked, well, her dream job growing up was to be a stay-at-home mom. So, in my opinion, that is the absolute most respected job that you can have, being a stay-at-home mom. My opinion. So, anyway, she got the itch to go back to work. So she went to work for a Fortune 500 company, top 10, top 10 or 20 best places to work in the world. So in 2020, during COVID, when the world was crumbling and there were so many question marks about how things were going to go from there, I made her quit her job and work with me in our garage. So we get lots of questions about, hey, I've been following your journey for a long time. I'm really scared to go all in. Or, you know what? I took your advice and I just went all in. I quit my job. I went all in on my hobby that I've been building for a couple of years, and it's the best decision that I've ever made. But other things, it's like, how do you block out the outside noise? What is your advice if someone's doing this or the other person's doing that? Well, that's why I'm here. I've got my top 10 list of things and pieces of advice that hopefully, if you're watching this video, you either typed in on your YouTube search something that got you here, or you're one of our subscribers already and you're just watching our new video. So I've got my fancy list here. It's actually 2 sticky notes stuck together. I kind of worked on 1 to 10 in order of importance. Other people have different, you know, 1 to 10 versions, and I might, but these are mine. And just comment below after you watch this. It's probably gonna be a long video. It's gonna be completely just me rambling, so I had to make this sheet to stay on track. And bear with me. I get sidetracked. My brain is kind of an interesting brain, and I think that's what makes me who I am. But number one, I'm going to start with the most important. Number one on my top 10, it's the F word. Yep, family. Family is always number one in my book. And if you've got a family and you're doing really anything business related, job related, that should be your number one priority. That's my number one priority. And one of the biggest struggles that we have as a business owner is balancing business and family. People, unfortunately, expect you to be available 24/7, either in our retail store. We had somebody come into our store, it was a couple weeks ago. He came walking in. Oh, man, y'all aren't open very often, considering you're a local small business. I can't ever seem to catch you in your store. So how's that working out for you? I was a little bit taken back. First of all, because we had other customers in our store, and like, what was the point of all that? So anyway, walks in, says this thing, kind of looks around, and I told him, I was like, well, we're a locally owned family business, and we've got a family, so sometimes we have things that we have to do with our family, so we're not here all the time. And I tell people, I wish that we could cater to everybody's hours, locally, but we're here 10 till 4:30, which is kind of average-ish hours. And yeah, we can't make everybody happy, but our family is always first. That's why if you come to our store and the door might be locked, it's, we could be at our son's guitar practice, or we might leave early to take our kids to church on Wednesday night, or our daughter might have volleyball practice early in the morning, an abundance of things, or we might just want to lock our door and go to lunch. We are human, but family is first. I tell people all the time, you can't get the moments back with your kids or your wife or your husband or whatever it might be. Once those moments are gone, they're gone. You can always make up extra hours at work. I can come in here early, I can stay here late and make up any missed time on work. But that missed time with our kids, they are 10 years old and 13 years old. These are the most important days of their lives. So we are always going to be there for them. It's going to piss people off that we're not available to, the customer or the potential customer all the time. But that's reality. We're not an overseas company with outsourced answering services or chat bots or anything like that. We are two real people, and we pride ourselves on being a husband and wife, family-owned business. And I think a lot of people do appreciate that. And yeah, you got to wait sometimes a little bit longer than the big print shops that outsource all of their work to different manufacturers overseas. So you think that you're ordering something that's based in the United States, but at the end of the day, you're not. Being made overseas, and then it lands in your lap. So we take a lot of pride in the products that we make, and it takes a little bit of time, but we are obsessed with quality, as we have recently started using a lot in our social media tags and stuff like that. And yeah, we do our best. We go as fast as our fingers and our sewing machine and our laser in the back, and as fast as we can possibly go. So we do our best, but family is always first. We try and be open on some Saturdays, especially during the summer and the holidays coming up, because people, they want to get their holiday shopping in. But that's why we have an online store. You can do online shopping and pick up local, but obviously we ship almost almost all of our stuff out of here. But family is always, always critical. We take, I don't know, probably more traveling vacation trips with our kids than anybody that I know. I love to travel. I love to drive our kids around. We take time off to go camping, to travel. I say that a classroom is not always four walls. So we use vacations to be an educational experience for our kids and show them that, hey, where we live in this small town in Northwest Florida, the rest of the world is not like where we live. We recently took 10 days off, which part of that was weekend, part of that was a holiday. So in reality, we took 5 business days off because one of those days was Columbus Day. I probably just said that wrong. Whatever it's called these days, but it's Columbus Day to me because that's what I grew up calling it. But we took 10 days off, loaded up the car, and drove from Northwest Florida to New York City. Because I believe in good old-fashioned family road trips, because you are confined in a vehicle with your kids for a very long time from Florida to New York. And those are some of the best times, even through the little arguments or the bickering, and nobody's perfect. It's going to happen. And if I said that we never argued and we never got under each other's skin, that would be a lie. But anyway, Florida to New York, we showed them the city. We did all the touristy things and showed them that New York is a real place. It's not just in the movie Elf or Home Alone, that it does actually exist. We spent 4 days with them in Washington, D.C., driving around, showing them the White House. We got a very phenomenal kind of behind the scenes tour of the Pentagon. A friend of ours works for the Pentagon and gave us a tour on a Saturday when the Pentagon is closed. There's 30,000 employees at the Pentagon, and we were the only ones in this whole building. It was kind of creepy. The most secure building in the country, and it was just us. So that was a lot better than any Smithsonian museum or anything like that. Our kids thoroughly enjoyed it. 2 summers ago, we loaded up our camper. We took a month off. We had somebody work in our retail store, working our online stuff. And we took a month off, drove from Florida. We did 6,000 miles, drove from here all the way to Yellowstone and back. 2 summers before that, before we had a camper, we rented an RV, drove from Florida all the way to Malibu. That was about a 3.5 week trip. But our kids are 6 and 10, and they've been to 39 different states in their short lives. So very, very important. Family, family, family first. So that's my number one tip. Number 2, start small. That is probably the most important thing that made us, I feel like, who we are, because we didn't just go all in. We had a guy that I've known for probably 15 years slides in my Facebook inbox a few months ago, and he's like, "Hey, bro, really love what you're doing." I hadn't talked to him in a couple of years, but he's like, "I want to do exactly what you do. What's the startup cost?" I was like, I didn't even know how to respond to that. I was like, I don't know. Like, there's no real startup costs in something like this. We've built it from the ground up since 2008. When we needed something, we bought it. When we needed this, we bought it. And that is what contributed to our growth in a positive way. We've never been in debt. I don't think that you should start a business in debt, because you're constantly working to get yourself out of that hole. Everything that we've ever bought, we just bought it. Our first piece of equipment was $220. It was a vinyl cutter, like a Cricut, but it was pre-Cricut days. And that's how we started, doing vinyl window decals and bumper stickers, the HTV heat press shirts, picking and weeding, all the vinyl, all the stickers. That sucked. I can't stand weeding vinyl, but it got us to where we're at, And for that, I'm extremely grateful for all those late nights, picking little stars out of flags, and fighting with the HTV and transfer tape and all that stuff. But we started our business $225 in the spare bedroom closet of our old house. And this was before kids, 2008. And I think starting small gave us the ability to learn as we go. And I think that's important, because if you start big or you go all in, you're going to be overwhelmed. And then if you got orders, like if you just open everything wide open, you've got orders coming in, you're trying to learn equipment, you're trying to learn the process, you're trying to learn how to fix something if it breaks. And that is incredibly critical in an industry where things do break. We've got our sewing machine that is never broken, but we break needles. We've had thread get wound up. We've had issues with why isn't the stitch, why isn't it getting tight? What's going on? Why does my thread keep breaking? Even simple things like how to wind your bobbin. These are all like questions that we get asked. And I think that you don't get bent out of shape if I say this. I think you need to have that technical mindset a lot of times when you do start in an industry like this, to really know how to fix something. Because if you're constantly depending on something else or somebody else to fix your equipment, you're just going to be screwed. So start small, learn the equipment that you're working on, learn the brands. Obviously, we work with hats. I see it all the time in Facebook groups. People will post a picture of a Richardson 112 hat, and they'll ask, does anybody know what hat this is? I've got a customer wanting this hat. It's a Richardson 112. It's like the most popular, biggest selling hat in the world for decorators, and you don't even know what that brand is. It blows my mind. So do your research, do your homework, start small, build from there. We, over the years, have kind of narrowed down our process, and we just do what we want to do. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in one of my other top 10 numbers, but I won't get into that now. But starting small is vital, and that is critical and vital. I think that's the same word, different definition. Anyway, start small, grow from there. I never thought starting in our spare bedroom that we would have this where I'm sitting right now. Start small, number 2. Number 3, this rolls from start small. Figure out what works best for you. Figure out what works best for you. We figured that out, and we had to go through some growing pains to really figure that out. One of the things that we get asked in our store, online, do you do embroidery? I don't do embroidery, and I've got one answer for that when people ask us why, because I don't want to. If you're good at embroidery, I definitely applaud you. And embroidery sucks. If you are not phenomenal at it, like, it sucks. People think that the machine can just do its own thing. Like, well, you just buy an embroidery machine and you stick the hat in there and you can just walk away and do other stuff. That's 100% not true. We've had small embroidery machines back 10 years ago. We used to do small embroidery things on shirts and polos, and made stuff for our kids. And we did some old patches where we would embroider the design, but I had no way to cut the patch out. So I was hand cutting all these patches, and which eventually led to why we got the laser engravers and all that stuff. But find out what works best for you. And we used to be like on a 10-lane freeway is what I would tell people. Now we've narrowed it down to like kind of like a 2-lane road, but it's got that one little lane where you can speed up and get around the slower traffic. So that's kind of where we're at now. We learned during COVID that hats was where our passion was. We've always, I tell people whenever I was in school that I was a hat snob. Still am. So find out what works best for you. Don't try and put too many things in your basket and offer a million different products, because what that's going to do, your brain is just going to be fried and your ideas are going to be all over the place. We used to do a ton of apparel like this. We still make our own shirts that we sell inside of our store. Of course, our shirts that we wear on a daily basis as part of our PG Hat Company uniform. But yeah, we used to do, what are the things that obviously vinyl stickers. I don't do that anymore. I don't even want to do the new stickers on our window. I'll still do stuff for my cars. I'm a big car guy. We've got a couple classic cars. So I'll tinker around with stuff then, but I hate working with the vinyl machine. Yeah, figure out what works best for you. Don't worry about what works best for somebody else. Got a little bit of a brain lock there. Maybe if I get some electrolytes. Here's my little straw cover that my daughter makes sure that I use. Yeah, we've had to figure out what works best for us. We use real leather. We use quality products. We stitch all of our patches now. We stay in our lane. Like I said, we were on a big freeway for a while, pure chaos. So imagine driving in like Washington, D.C. like we did recently. And that was a nightmare. It was, our experience driving through Washington, D.C. was worse than driving through New York. New York, it was like 2-lane roads, pure chaos, but everything was like an organized chaos. So I like to say that we're controlled chaos here in our store. We'll move on to number 4 because I feel like I'm beating that one to death. Where'd number 4 go? Be authentic. This is me being me, being authentic with you. There's no fancy things down in the corner of the screen. There's no fun intro music. There's no fancy edits, anything like that. Sitting here in our shop on my couch, just talking to you guys. Hopefully you can take something out of the advice that I'm getting, but that is me being authentic to you in hopes that my authenticity, either with my words or with our products, makes an impact on, even if it's just one of you. I consider that a win. And knowledge is free. Some people do pay for knowledge, but hopefully my free knowledge, you can say, man, he's right, or I need to try that, or in the back of your head, gosh, these are all the same thoughts that I've had, but I've never implemented those. And maybe since this random guy on YouTube, maybe if it worked for him, it'll work for me. So just give it a shot, but be authentic. I cannot stand the fake videos of, and not even really fake, but just the not being authentic in your videos. There's, this is our shop. Retail space is clean and organized as best as we can keep it. Our warehouse back there, my production room, it is always trash because it means that we're always working. We don't have time to pick up every single thing. I see all these videos of these bright white rooms and all the shiny, brand new equipment and all these silly little reels with, women. I'm going to hit you on this one, but I don't understand some of the outfits in like a production video that y'all make. And just be authentic, because I mean, maybe I need to dress, in some tighter clothes to get some view counts up, but just be authentic, because when you walk into the store, like, this is what you get. I will talk your ear off. I will tell you our story, because I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of my family, and I'm proud of what we have built, and I enjoy sharing that that passion with you guys. I bleed the passion of PG Hat Company, and it frustrates me whenever I see those reels pop up, and I'm like, that's not real life. And it's not even just in our industry. It's cooking videos, or people making drinks, or whatever it is. And I know they got the million followers and all that stuff, so that's great. But that's not me, and that's not us. And you know I don't get it. But be authentic, because people love authenticity, and they like knowing that you are a real person. Someone just came flying up in here. Might be somebody picking up some hats. So I'm might have to pause it real quick. And I said that I was going to do a full video. Yep, this guy picking up some hats. All right, I'm back. Great local guy picking up some hats. Super, super patient. And since I was talking about authenticity, that was a perfect example. So this guy came in. It was several weeks ago. Put an order in for some hats, and took his order down. I believe it was right before we were getting ready to go out of town, if I remember correctly. So it was pure chaos. I wrote his order down on our in-store order slips, and didn't write his name, didn't write his phone number. And it was about 2 weeks afterwards, he came in. He's like, "Hey man, I'm just checking on my hats." I was like, I don't remember what you ordered. So I put myself kind of in an awkward situation, but I was authentic with him. I'm like, I've got your order slip somewhere. I don't know what happened, but I'll figure it out. So I said, "Give me your phone number. I've got your email with your logo that you sent us." I said, "Let me figure it out." So I found his order slip and emailed him back. There was a kid walking by. Emailed him back, apologized. I was like, "Hey, my bad. I didn't even write your name or anything down on your order slip because I was in such a chaotic rush that day, but I'll take care of you." Got the hats done. Somebody else is here. Hold, please. All right, back again. Another one of our great customers picking up some hats. But authenticity, just be real with your customers, because we are in the customer service business, and being authentic will take you a long way, especially in the day and age where people don't really look for a reason to give you a positive review online. Everybody's looking for a reason to give you a negative review. So yeah, customer service and authenticity, just that will take you further than anything else, because anybody can do what we do, and anybody can do whatever it is that you do. Just depends how, like, your execution, how well do you do it, and how authentic are you? Because the last thing you want is to promote your products a certain way also, and when the customer gets that product, it's not what they thought, or the quality looked one way online, or your pictures that you took and you helped generate those with AI, with whatever special effects and backdrops, and all the things that AI will do for you. um, and then they get a hat and they're like, "Yeah, this isn't what I thought you were." So be authentic with your product, be authentic with yourself, be authentic with everything in life, not just business, but just be an authentic person as a friend, as a son, as a daughter, whatever. But authenticity, and let's just make real videos. I don't understand why people have to try so hard. And put your butts away. All right. Number 5, stay in your lane. I mentioned this earlier. And I probably should have stayed in my lane a minute ago talking about the reels and stuff with how people dress and act and whatever else. But can't tell if this is somebody else coming in again. My train of thought on my video keeps getting distracted. But stay in your lane. People come in here. It hasn't happened recently, but people would come in, and usually it'd be, a close acquaintance or a friend. They're like, oh, so and so is making a hat now, or so and so is doing this, or they're selling their hat at this price, or yeah, did you see where, this person's making hats for this company now and you used to do it, and blah blah blah. I don't care. I stay in my lane. Like a racehorse, you got your blinders on, and I just look straight ahead. I'm not worried about that person. I'm not worried about that person. And there's a famous picture of Michael Phelps. I'm sure y'all know who Michael Phelps is. I don't have to go into that. But he was swimming in the Olympics. I believe it was his last Olympics. He was doing his thing, swimming in his lane, eye on the prize, and don't know who the other swimmer was. But one of the other swimmers from one of the other countries that was competing kept looking over where Michael Phelps was at. And yeah, he lost the race. He was beating Michael Phelps at one point, and if he would have just stayed focused and stayed in his lane, he would have beat the best. And I'm not saying that I'm the best, and I'm not saying that I'm trying to beat anybody. I'm just saying focus on yourself and stay in your lane. There's lots of outside noise these days. Goes back to Instagram with followers that I was just talking about. Sure, there's people that do what we do. They've got 20,000 followers, 80,000 followers. I really don't care, because at the end of the day, all I'm worried about is what happens in our store and in our warehouse, online, how we focus and how we move forward on everything. Because the amount of followers that you have don't necessarily define how successful your business is or how it's going to be. I guarantee with our almost 9,000 followers, I guarantee that we do more sales than someone that probably has 10 times as many followers as us. And that's not me being cocky or arrogant. That's just me being, I don't know, truthful. So, because I'm sure it is probably the case. You don't ever know how many followers people are actually buying to inflate their social media presence. And yeah, so stay in your lane. One of my old friends that I've known for quite a while, back when I was doing some automotive work in our home. I didn't really know how the hat thing was going to go when I left the engineering firm. So I've always had a passion for cars. I've got a 1965 Mustang that's at our house. We just purchased, it's a 1973 Jeep Commando. 73. I don't know if I said 63 or 73, but 1973 Jeep Commando. It's one of 6,000 that was made in its final year. I've got a 1999 Mustang that's in the back of our warehouse that really, it started our whole business. But we have like our things that we're passionate about. Cars is mine. The maintaining of a vehicle's paint, making it look pretty. I've never cared too much about speed or performance. I just like things that look nice, which is maybe where my passion for a perfect hat comes. But yeah, so we were in paint correction and ceramic coating, which there is a huge market. So many people do that. Automotive detailing, highly, highly competitive, just like the hat business. There, I don't understand it. I don't understand why people in the hat game are so catty and against so many others. They just want, it's like, if they're not getting the business, they're like looking at somebody else, and just the constant cattiness that I see in some of the Facebook groups is crazy. But there is a lot of community, a tight knit community that has been built around the hat community as well. So I do applaud the ones that keep it positive, um, but I just stay in my lane. I worry about PG Hat Company. I don't worry about what this company is doing. I don't worry about what that company is making. I don't care. So stay in your lane, because if you worry about everything else that's going around you, it's going to distract you from being successful, because you're going to put more time and energy into that than anything else. And another quick story, last year, 2 years ago, a friend of mine came in, and I do a lot of videos about how to properly make a hat in my eyes. And I've been very vocal sometimes about using inferior products, whether it's using fake leather versus real leather, whether it's like you're pressing your patches on versus sewing your hats on. And there's one guy, he got spin out of shape because he thought every post that I made was directed at him. And I didn't even know that. First of all, I didn't even know who he was until the guy told me, and then I didn't even know he was making hats. So why would that be directed towards him? But people get so wrapped up in thinking something is about them when it's not, or worrying about everybody else when you just don't need to. Man, the one time I try and sit down and do a video, I keep having to stop. Our mailman's about to be in here. So he is a Bengals fan. I'm a Bears fan. So I'm sure he's going to talk about the epic, epic Sunday game against Bills, or Bengals Bears. If you are a football fan, that was one for the ages. But stay in your lane. Number 5, don't worry about anybody else. Unless you're using somebody as like, this person influences me, or I love their business model, just like what I'm doing, helping you guys out, just stay in your lane. I'm going to pause you before I move on to number 6. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back again. All right, back again. Maybe I can get through this. But stay in your lane. So far, number 1, family first, all the time. Number 2, start small. Number 3, figure out what works best for you. Number 4, be authentic. Number 5, stay in your lane. You can kind of see there's kind of a pattern where these are tied in. Number 6, set yourself apart. That is another one of the things that I've told people, the best advice that I can give them. Don't make yourself look like everybody else. Again, I see it in the Facebook groups. A new product comes out, a new material comes out, everybody goes to that. And I'm going to use a couple of examples here. Take you back a few years to the Let's Go Brandon stuff. Everybody, I didn't. Everybody was making Let's Go Brandon hats. Hawk Tua. Everybody was making Hawk Tua hats. Everybody in these groups posting the pictures of their Hawk Tua hat, their Let's Go Brandon hat. Trump got shot in the ear. Everybody's making shirts and hats with the ear thing. I just don't get it. What is going to set yourself apart from the other companies if you're doing the same thing that all the other companies are doing. Yeah, we're all making hats. You're making shirts. Everybody's making shirts. Um, but I feel like we do a good job of setting our hats apart from the others. You know, we found on our own the leather that works best for us. We've give it a finish that I feel like is a finish for our brand. We sew the patches on where, you know, I feel like that's a very small percentage of hat makers are actually stitching their patches. Um, very proud of my stitching on the hat. So I always focus on that on the pictures that I post because I want people to see that we're putting quality into the products and we're not just slamming it on and going. Um, yeah, I'll not hammer too hard on that because this video is not about different processes, but just set yourself apart from the rest. I try and do it with our pictures. I'm I originally wanted to be a photographer. So we've had questions with who's your photographer? Who's your media person? Well, that's me. I'm the media person. I'm the photographer. I'm the social media expert. I'm the marketing person, um, the shipper, the wholesaler, the warehouse manager, the secretary, all the things. All those things are in the circle of me and my wife. And I think I can say for, 100%, that is what sets ourselves apart. We focus on our family. We always include our family into our business because we want people to know that this is a family business. Um, so every little detail that you see, if it's in our wording or my rambling videos like this, I put myself out there. I try and make myself available for anybody. We get so many phone calls. We get phone calls from Canada, California, all over the place, just looking for advice on how to improve that person's brand or just say hello. Thank you so much for making this video. And I always apologize. I'm like, I'm not the most technical person, but I just try to put stuff out there that's real life and just kind of go through it. And people appreciate that. They appreciate authenticity. Going back to that one. Um, and yeah, just set yourself apart. I can't tell you what exactly to do to set yourself apart, but just don't be a lemming and follow along and do the exact same thing, the exact same style, and just figure it out. That's probably my only thing I don't really have an answer for, but just set yourself apart and be authentic. Number 7, where's number 7? Don't devalue yourself. And this ties even more stuff together as far as setting yourself apart. I see too many people competing with pricing. This person made it this price, so I'm going to drop my price to this much. This person's got a sale going on. I'm going to do a sale for cheaper than them. There's a good book that our kids actually have that we read to them at night sometimes. And what is it called? It's Splat the Cat, something like that. And he does a lemonade stand and he tells his friend at school he's going to do a lemonade stand to raise money so he can go to the water park for graduation. So he starts a lemonade stand and he's selling lemonade for $2. I can't remember the price, but he's selling it for $2. So the other kid from school, which is a cat, sets up directly across from him, makes a lemonade stand. Same thing, selling his lemonade for $1.75. So the $2 lemonade stand marks their price to $1.50. The $1.75 lemonade stand does like 2 cups for $1, something like that. So they keep going back and forth, and it gets to the point where you're making zero money, you're not making any profit, and all you're doing is you're chasing the sale. And that is the most important thing. If you take anything out of this video, is to not devalue not just your product, but yourself. Because if you start underselling your products, you've got to explain why. Say, for example, you have a customer come along and they want 50 hats. Oh, I'm going to do these 50 hats. I'm going to, I really want this sale, so I'm going to give them an amazing deal. I'm going to make 50 hats for $12. And don't say that sounds crazy, because I've seen the ads before. And I'm just going to be honest, like, we pay almost $6 a piece for a Richardson 112. We have a direct account with them. Um, how are you making any money making a hat for $12? The cost of the material, the cost of your time, and that is a prime example of you're not chasing the dollar, you're chasing the sale. And sure, the end of the year, your dollar amount may look phenomenal, but how much profit did you actually make? But then what's going to happen is that customer comes back, they expect that same price forever, So set yourself a realistic pricing structure. I consider ourselves a premium hat brand, but we still kind of price our products within a normal pricing structure. I know what our products are worth. I know what my time is worth, and I know what my value is worth. So don't devalue yourself. Don't just chase the sale. If someone doesn't want to buy your hat for $28, somebody else will. Because after fees that you have to pay online, some people do free shipping when they're selling their hats this cheap. And yeah, you can't, there's no longevity in that. So if we sold hats for that, there is no way we would have a retail store. And this retail store, it's brutal writing our rent check each month. Our rent on this place is twice as much as our home mortgage. And we don't have to be here. I'd much rather be in my garage working for free and be with my kids every single day and get to be home whenever they come home from school. But it's just the separation from home and work that makes it all worth it for us. But just the interaction with the local community. I went to high school right around the corner. It's literally maybe a 5-minute walk from here. So it's great interacting with the kids and the sports teams and just all the people that come in on a daily basis, and just being part of a community. So yeah, I don't know what that has to do with devaluing yourself, but yeah, don't devalue yourself. I think you kind of get the gist of what I mean. Number 8, customer service. I touched on this earlier with reviews, where people, they look for a reason to post a negative review more than a reason to post a positive review. So you have to be extremely extremely careful with your online social media interaction. So we kind of float in the gray area with a lot of stuff with our business page, what we like, what we, comment on. I've seen businesses run into the ground with social media posts, and we saw it recently with the Charlie Kirk killing, with the stuff that people were saying online, and it just completely like ruined people's lives. I won't get into politics. It's not why I'm here, but that is a prime example. Screenshots are forever. Even if you're on the phone with somebody, people, they can be recording your conversation. You've got to be very, very careful with what you say. And I feel like our customer service is elite. if you want to say that. Me and my wife, we both have retail experience. My first job, I was the department manager for Walmart toy department. That was my very first, well, cutting grass was my very first job, but that doesn't count. Um, 16 years old, got a job at Walmart. Wasn't even a super center. That's how long ago this was. This was 1995, I believe, whenever I was working at Walmart. And yep, 95, because I left in 2000 to work at the engineering firm. But we were taught customer service during training. And back then they had, I think it was an 8-foot rule, where when you were within 8 feet of a person, a customer walking towards you, you had to make eye contact with them. You had to talk to them. You had to greet them. And I feel like that is a big problem these days. And I don't know what has happened. Obviously, you can blame it a lot on phones, on social media, where everybody interacts behind a screen now. We have people come into our store. A lot of times it's younger kids. I don't want to put a number on anything, but they come in and you try and talk to them, and it's like they don't know. It's like they don't know what to do. Like, oh my gosh, a person's talking to me, and it's just wild. So customer service is vital, especially if you mess something up. We get people get mad at us. That's just reality, because you can't make everybody happy. So how are you going to resolve the problem, or how are you going to keep your head on straight instead of just ripping somebody apart for being a complete a-hole to you? There's been plenty of times I've wanted to respond to an email with all caps, exclamation marks, put it in red, and I don't. You can kill them with kindness, um, and just do your best to resolve the situation. Um, we've had people come in here, and we've never really had anybody mad in our store, but you can tell that they might be frustrated that their order is not ready yet. And we try to explain to them there's 100 other people in front of you that we're still working on. So we try and be fair. We work in order. Every order is important to us, no matter how big or small. We do our best. Um, so customer service is vital. Screenshots are forever. Uh, don't be a dummy and post stuff. I see Instagram, all these pages that I follow, the comments are just, they're brutal. And I can't imagine that these people that I see these comments from actually talk to other people face to face with the things that they say in the comments on Instagram. Even our local Facebook pages, like our local community Facebook pages, it is insane the way that the things that people say to other people. I think we got to get back to just being kinder and nicer, and just customer service. So customer service is important, because um, you can teach people almost how to do anything. One of the most easiest things that you can do is keep your mouth shut. So keep your mouth shut, make the problem, you know, fix the problem, but just be kind. That's the easiest part of customer service. Number 9 is quality. If you don't have a quality product, obviously that is a problem. We always test how something is going to work before we put it into the real world. One time I did not, and that kind of changed the way that I view how our products are made and the products that we put out. When we first started doing our leather patch hats, I thought you could just burn a patch, stick it on a hat, and it was good to go. We got our first big order. It was like 24 hats, and it was on our Etsy page, I believe. And I think this was maybe in 2019, I think it was 2019. We were in our garage, we were using the Glowforge, and the customer emails me pictures. They're like, we opened the hats, they looked great. but as soon as we touched it, it smeared everywhere. I didn't know anything about sealing a patch. So what happens if you're not in the hat game, if you burn or engrave leather, it you're burning it, so it's creating a char. So if you rub it, it's just going to smear char everywhere, just like your fireplace. If you touch one of the burned logs in there. So luckily, this person was there's somebody else out there. This person was extremely understanding. We made it right for them. They actually sent the hats back, remade all the patches, um, and we've got an order for them in our office right now. Sorry, I was watching, seeing if someone else was going to come in. But anyway, um, so quality is very important. Um, yeah, without quality, you can't move forward, because if you get those negative reviews, I paid this much for a hat, the quality sucks, the patch was falling off, the leather smeared, all those things. So quality is vital. I feel like that's kind of a no-brainer one right there. And number 10, don't give up. Be patient. One of the other questions that we get asked so often, what is the hardest part about running your own business? Everything. Everything is the hardest part. It is absolutely mentally and physically draining. I'm going to be honest. It is mentally draining running your own business. I shouldn't even be sitting here for an hour doing this, because I could have sewed about 100 hats while I've been sitting here. But sometimes I feel like it's important to decompress. And this is actually resetting my brain for a little bit here. Um, just don't give up. That's what I tell people. I see it on Facebook Marketplace, all the equipment for sale, all the hats for sale. People want instant gratification. They want instant success with everything that they do, not just this. And I feel like the social media influencers have kind of put that up on a pedestal, and people get lucky, you know. And I think that we're pretty lucky with where we're at. But it's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of not giving up, even though I wanted to. And there's so much more that we still want to accomplish. And this is just the beginning for us. And I'm not going to give up. Yeah, we started this in 2008 as a hobby. I knew that it wasn't going to be instant success. And honestly, in 2008, I had no idea that we'd have a retail store. I had no idea that we'd be doing what we're doing right now. I kind of let it go with the flow, put it in God's hands, as you can say. We're very, very blessed to be where we're at. I don't want any of my video ramblings to be taken out of context as we are snobby or better than anybody else. I just wanted to put some real life um, tips out there. Like I said, hopefully it can help somebody, but don't give up. That's what I tell people all the time, because when you give up, the other person moves one step ahead of you. And I don't treat this like a competition. I treat this as this is what we do for a living. So I'm going to put my blinders on. I'll worry about ourselves. I'm going to worry about my family and the products that we make. And if you have any questions, we are here for you. Sometimes I miss messages, sometimes I miss questions, but we do have a family. So if you send me a message on Instagram, and then 30 minutes later you send me a question mark, and then 2 hours later you send me a question mark at 1 a.m., and then you send me an email at 10 p.m. on a Saturday, and I have not answered, it's because I have a family. So do not sacrifice family time. Work can wait. Emails can wait. Messages can wait. Your family cannot. You can't get that time back. So I feel like that's the most important thing. If you take anything out of this video, is don't ever sacrifice your family to build what you're building. And I'll back up for a second. Our men and women, first responders, nurses, doctors, men and women overseas, they sacrifice a lot for their family, and they sacrifice a lot for us every day. Again, this isn't being political. This is just being truthful. But if you're making hats, there's no reason to sacrifice family time. Go home, be with your babies. It is now 5 o'clock, and I wanted to leave 30 minutes ago to be outside in the little bit of daylight that we've got, and it's going to be dark now when I get home. But wanted to get this video out to you guys. Drop a comment, subscribe to our channel. I don't do stuff like this all the time. Might be the only time that I do this. And yeah, follow our Instagram page, at PG Hat Company. Always post our products on there. Our website, pghatco.com, where you can build your custom hat. But we're always here for you. You've got my phone number. You've got my YouTube channel. You've got my email address. You've got our shop address. So we're real people doing real things. Hopefully I help somebody. See you soon.